In a bold and unexpected move, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a new energy partnership between the United States and Pakistan, aimed at developing what he described as Pakistan's massive oil reserves. The announcement, made via a post on Truth Social, came with a provocative twist. Trump hinted that Pakistan could one day export oil to India, a statement that has stirred significant attention given the complex geopolitical dynamics in South Asia. This development, coupled with Trump's simultaneous imposition of a 25% tariff on Indian imports effective August 1, 2025, has sparked debates about its implications for India, its economy, and its foreign relations. Let's look into the Trump announcement. We have just concluded a deal with the country of Pakistan, whereby Pakistan and the United States will work together on developing their massive oil reserves, Trump declared. We are in the process of choosing the oil company that will lead this partnership. Who knows, maybe they'll be selling oil to India someday. The statement followed closely on the heels of Trump's decision to slap tariffs and additional penalties on India, citing its trade deficit with the U.S. and its continued purchase of Russian oil and military equipment. The timing of these announcements suggests a strategic maneuver, with the U.S.-Pakistan deal potentially serving as both an economic and diplomatic signal to India. The partnership aims to tap into Pakistan's oil reserves, particularly in the offshore Indus Basin, where recent seismic surveys have indicated potential hydrocarbon deposits. However, Pakistan's proven oil reserves, estimated at 353.5 million barrels as of 2016, are modest, ranking at 52nd globally and covering less than 2 years of its domestic consumption. Current production stands at around 88,000 barrels per day, far below the country's daily demand of approximately 550,000 barrels, forcing Pakistan to rely on imports for 85% of its oil needs. Trump's reference to massive reserves appears to hinge on unproven potential, as exploratory drilling has yet to confirm commercially viable deposits. Now let's look into the geopolitical context. The U.S.-Pakistan deal comes at a time of heightened tension in U.S.-India relations. Trump's tariffs, set to impact India's $129 billion trade with the U.S. in 2024, were justified by India's trade barriers, its role in the BRICS bloc, which Trump called anti the United States, and its growing energy trade with Russia, which now accounts for roughly 1/3 of India's oil imports. The tariffs, combined with additional penalties for India's purchase of Russian arms, signal a pressure campaign to align India more closely with U.S. interests, particularly in countering Russia and the BRICS agenda. The U.S.-Pakistan partnership adds another layer of complexity. Pakistan, a long-standing rival of India, has struggled to develop its energy sector due to limited technical expertise and investment. The U.S. stepping in to support Pakistan's oil exploration, particularly in sensitive regions like Balochistan, could shift regional dynamics. This move aligns with recent U.S.-Pakistan trade discussions, as evidenced by Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar's statement on July 25, 2025, that the two nations were very close to finalizing a trade deal following his meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The deal also emphasizes cooperation in critical minerals and mining, suggesting a broader strategic partnership. How does this impact India? Let's look into the economic implications. The immediate economic impact on India stems from the 25% tariff and additional penalties, which could disrupt its exports to the U.S., particularly in sectors like smartphones, pharmaceuticals, and shrimp. Indian officials, already engaged in 5 rounds of trade talks with the U.S. and preparing for a 6th in late August 2025, face pressure to negotiate tariff reductions. Trump hinted that India might be willing to lower its own trade barriers very substantially, but no deal has been confirmed. The tariffs could lead to a sell-off in Indian stock markets, with reports indicating a potential loss of R5 lakh crore in market value on July 31, 2025, as investor confidence wanes. The prospect of Pakistan exporting oil to India, while speculative, introduces long-term economic considerations. India, heavily reliant on oil imports from the Middle East and Russia, could theoretically benefit from a new regional supplier. However, Pakistan's current oil production capacity and lack of infrastructure make this scenario unlikely in the near term. Even if viable reserves are discovered, the geopolitical and logistical challenges of India importing oil from Pakistan, given their fraught history, would be significant. How will this impact India's geopolitical ramifications? Trump's announcement has raised concerns in India about a potential shift in U.S. foreign policy. By strengthening ties with Pakistan, the U.S. could be signaling a rebalancing of its South Asia strategy, possibly to counter China's influence through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. However, any U.S.-led oil project in Pakistan, especially in Balochistan, risks friction with China, which views Pakistan as a key Belt and Road ally. Local insurgencies in Balochistan, which have targeted both Chinese and Pakistani infrastructure, further complicate the security landscape for such ventures. For India, the deal exacerbates tensions with the U.S. at a time when its strategic autonomy, evidenced by its BRICS membership and Russia ties, is under scrutiny. Indian opposition leaders have criticized the government's diplomacy, with the Congress Party warning of a China-America-Pakistan axis challenging India's interests. The suggestion that Pakistan could sell oil to India is seen by some as a diplomatic jab, highlighting India's dependence on foreign energy and its strained relations with its neighbor. Let's check out India's strategic and energy security concerns. India's energy security could face indirect pressure if the U.S.-Pakistan partnership succeeds in unlocking significant oil reserves. A stronger Pakistani energy sector, backed by U.S. investment, could enhance Pakistan's economic stability and regional influence, potentially at India's expense. However, the unproven nature of Pakistan's reserves and the technical challenges of offshore drilling temper this threat. Past attempts, such as the Kekra-1 well, have failed, and experts caution that Pakistan's oil potential remains speculative without substantial investment and exploration. India's continued reliance on Russian oil, which Trump criticized, may also face scrutiny. U.S. sanctions on 6 Indian firms for trading with Iran, announced alongside the tariffs, underscore Washington's broader push to curb India's non-aligned energy strategy. The U.S.-Pakistan deal could be part of a strategy to offer alternative energy partnerships, though its viability and appeal to India remain uncertain. How does the public and political reactions are? Posts on X reflect a mix of skepticism and concern in India. Some users view Trump's announcement as a geopolitical maneuver to pressure India, with one post questioning the feasibility of Pakistan's oil reserves, given that 15 oil and gas blocks got no international bidders, and citing security concerns. Others see it as a blow to India-US relations, with one user lamenting that tensions in U.S.-India relations could be heading for a new low. Indian media outlets, such as The Economic Times, have questioned whether Pakistan's oil reserves even exist in the quantities Trump claims, emphasizing the speculative nature of the deal. Looking ahead, the U.S.-Pakistan oil partnership, while ambitious, faces significant hurdles, from unproven reserves to geopolitical risks. For India, the immediate challenge lies in navigating the economic fallout of U.S. tariffs and maintaining its strategic autonomy amid pressure from Washington. The prospect of Pakistan supplying oil to India, though floated by Trump, remains a distant possibility given the lack of infrastructure, proven reserves, and trust between the two nations. As India prepares for further trade talks with the US, its ability to balance economic interests with geopolitical realities will be critical. In the broader context, Trump's announcement underscores the volatile nature of global energy politics and the US's willingness to leverage trade and partnerships to reshape alliances. For India, the path forward involves not only addressing tariff-related economic pressures, but also reinforcing its energy security and diplomatic standing in a rapidly shifting regional landscape.